after the car broke down, I spent the night in the car with my dog Queenie and my cat Nike. We had plenty of supplies, warm blankets, clothing, food, water, everything. But the temp dropped below freezing and it was a clear night sky. I know how to layer clothing to stay warm in situations like this, and always do so since I'm a kind of a bird bone body here. And that's what we did. But it took some time for the sun to come up in the morning when it was finally warm enough that we could get out without our breath fogging in our faces. I started to scope out the situation as far as why there had been no vehicles going by, no signs of humanity at all, nothing. I had binoculars, and so I decided to hike down the road, try and find the ranch that I had originally passed a long time ago, actually, on that road. And I took Queenie with me, left Nike with the car with the food and water. As I hiked down that road and kept hiking down that road and kept hiking down, I realized it was way, way further than I was going to be able to make in one night or day. So I turned back and decided to hike instead up one of the mesas that was visible very close to that dry wash that we were next to. Take my binoculars and try and see where there might be some signs of humanity around me. It took a day to get up there, and there were none. There was no cell phone reception whatsoever. So I turned around, Queenie and I made it halfway back down. That whole climb spent it halfway down on a ledge, basically. And then afterwards, the next morning, continued the journey down to where I had seen a river flowing down a canyon around the next bend, if you will, that was beside that mesa.
And will you talk a little bit about your resourcefulness along this journey, what you ate, what you drank, and where you found all of it?
Certainly. I've done a lot of study and reading and taken classes and seminars and so forth in survival, especially in the desert. I've lived here a long time, so it made good sense to me to do so. And so I knew which plants I could eat, and I knew most of them grew along water. That's why that moving water was very important, besides which we needed water by then. And that's how I chose the plants I did to eat, to survive on. And also, Queenie became a greenery forager as well, which really fascinated me. She was eating clover, which is bitter and ugh. But anyway, we kept trekking as long as I could go each day. But as soon as that sun started to drop below those high, high walls, I had to stop, get my campsite ready, make my campfire, bring in the wood to keep it going all night.
And so you had a lighter with you?
I did,
and
yes.
You said that you made signal fires at one point?
I did. Excuse me. I finally decided that certainly if I build a big enough fire with enough smoke, somebody up there in those airplanes and the helicopters that were going back and forth over me would see it. No, didn't happen. When I needed to carry or move timber, big enough logs to keep my campfire burning all night, I would triple wrap that chain around them and hook it to the loop so I could drag them or carry them to the campsite.
Can you say one more, I'm sorry, can you, since we had all that playing, can you say when you decided to make that sign and how you made it?
That was, I believe that was the 5th day out, because I was I was getting no response from anything else I'd done for signaling with my compact mirror, flashing the sun signals at the plane or helicopter, whatever, going over, since none of it was working. That's why I decided to make a giant written help me sign.
How long did it take you
To do what?
to make the sign?
About 45 minutes.
Were you hopeful then at that point that they would see that?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely.
Will
And
you talk? Okay.
When you first, when did you start getting worried that maybe someone wasn't going to see and what was going to happen next?
By the 6th day, I was getting not only worried but discouraged, frustrated, and angry. I knew that there had to be air rescue crews. I knew that there had to be people searching at that point in time. But why? Why no responses? Why nobody actually coming over and stopping or doing something?
Can you talk about the role that your dog played? How it's a female, I think. How she helped you, and what's her breed and how long have you had her?
I had rescued her from Pima Animal Control about 6 weeks before this trip. She is a 2-year-old spayed female, a Queensland Terrier, Fox Terrier mix. She has very long legs, very adept at searching, good toenails, and she was the one who found not only the trails but the stepping stones that were solid across the river when we had to cross from side to side.
And will you talk a little bit about what was going through your head when you were feeling most down and feeling most worried that you were going to be stuck out there for a long time and possibly for good?
It gets difficult to maintain your hope. It gets difficult to feel so angry and frustrated that it's been going on for so long and that you've done everything you can think of and possibly do to get signals up there for help. So yes, I felt down and I felt angry. I was frustrated. But I knew there were people who cared enough to make sure somebody found me sometime out there. And that's when I finally realized I was going to stop so that somebody could actually bring down air rescue and get us out of there.
So how many times altogether did you move? Were you moving every single day?
Yes. The only times I stopped was on my birthday, April 4th. I spent 2 days and 2 nights there because it was not only beautiful, but there was an old homestead with a sandstone fireplace that I could burn the logs in without having to breathe the smoke all night long. So I did spend 2 days and 2 nights there. Started off again then the next morning after that. I did find 1 turtle that on my birthday. That was my 1 protein lunch day. Jumped in the river, scooped out the poor little turtle, and cooked it over a campfire upside down.
Can you explain how you got lost in the first place? How did,
I took a wrong turn
off of which highway?
twice.
Off of I-10 or?
Off of one that said I was going to Sholo. And it was a highway sign. But that sign was very small, and the paved road quickly turned into a dirt road with rocks in it, and it was a ranch road, a private maintained road. I would have been much better off in a truck than a low profile Ford Fusion hybrid.
What was your reaction when you first realized someone spotted you?
Joy, joy, joy. I was ecstatic. It was, I mean, at last, finally, yes, I know these people saw me. I know they're going to be coming up or down this canyon, and we're getting out of here today.
What made you decide to eat the turtle?
I needed protein. And that was the only large enough, little turtle, but cooked it and then peeled off its shell and all the muscle of the legs, the neck of a turtle are muscle. And when you eat them, yes, they do taste like chicken. Very mild, but if I had some salt along, they would have been pretty good. That's exactly.
Can you start over that story right here? I should have asked you here. I'm sorry you did that, but come on, Kevin. Can you explain that turtle, what it was like and why you cooked it? Sorry.
I cooked the turtle over my campfire after I caught it because it was protein, which I needed badly at that point. That was on my birthday. And it was the muscles of the turtle after I cooked it that I ate to give me some protein boost instead of all the vegetarian stuff I'd been eating and the water I'd been drinking out of the ponds, out of the river, and after the storms, rain storms, the rain pools that were everywhere in the sandstone catch areas.
So how did they come to you when you actually, they saw you?
Yes.
When you physically made contact, what was that emotion? How did they come to you?
They came down the canyon and I heard their rotors and I was so happy. I just sat there until they came in view. I got up on the highest little part of the ledge I could so they would still see me waving my red bag again, and they came down that canyon and landed.
How often do you go to Phoenix?
What?
How often do you go to Phoenix?
I've been there many, many, many times in journeys north. I also travel to Colorado often. Can go northern, can go southern.
Are you retired?
No.
What do you do?
I'm an artist, a singer, a dancer, a Reiki therapist.
And talk about how that wilderness course, that survival course that you took, I know you talked about this a little bit before.
Yes, I took an Arizona wild woman survival, a weekend up in Prescott, Arizona, with my friends,
Yep.
Virginia Shaw, her daughter, as well, and my now deceased artist friend, Kathy Dowdnick.
Did it say, do you think this was probably the biggest reason you're alive, apart from your two incredible rescuers or everybody who was behind the scenes?
Well, it did definitely teach us skills. We each divided up the classes we took as far as using a compass, for instance, or how to, mine was rappel down a cliff. I'd never done that before, but I wanted to experience it and did. We could have taken boat trips and fished and all of that, but I'd done enough of that stuff. I already knew that stuff. So whatever it was, all of us needed to know. We took those courses individually, then shared the information with each other, and also with the teachers who were there to teach us these things. We could ask questions all the time about what kind of equipment to have, etc.
What would you say, Ann, to anybody watching this online or on air about when thinking about taking a course like you did?
Yes.
What would you say to them?
I would say do it. Absolutely do it. Because none of us expects ever to end up in a situation where we feel entirely helpless and get to the point of, why hasn't somebody come? Why hasn't somebody understood that I've gone missing? Hello, been gone for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days now. My friend Bruce Trees, because I had texted him the mile markers on that ranch road where the car broke down and the temp, was the one who got everything started. And he, retired Marine vet, was the one who demanded, after contacting sheriff's departments and highway patrol and all these other organizations up there, he got hold of a dispatcher on the res. And he said basically, either somebody is going to file a missing persons report now, or I'm coming up there and rip your hair out. Do you get that one? And that dispatcher got it.
What was your first meal and what was it like to be in your bed when you got back, first night?
Jer Stevenson, my dear friend and musician as well, great tenor as well. He has shared his home with me for a long time now, while I am building my new residence off of Mile Wide Road, west of the Tucson Mountain Range.
Well, what was your first meal? What was that like when you tasted it?
The first meal was actually in the hospital. Actually, Tiffany gave me a granola bar and some Gatorade. And then, finally, when they did all my lab work at the hospital, I got strawberries and grapes and a blueberry muffin. Ah, food.
And will you talk a little bit about how you passed the time when you weren't looking for food or, you know, trying to find shelter?
I journaled every day, and I sketched every day. Or if I just didn't have the energy for anything anymore, I would sit and meditate, do some of my yoga exercises for my back. I have scoliosis, and I've had to do that all my life to keep the strength up in my back. Because I was carrying stuff, I would work on the bags to reposition everything so that there was balance in the weight I was carrying.